So instead of waiting for a hero, why don't investigate the hero inside of you? You are all beautiful. You are all magnificent. And the thing is, you've got all your wisdom inside of you. So yes, the hero inside of us. This week in the Diamond Beauties Forever, our theme is self-compassion. So ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy to uh, uh, have Patrick here with us. I met Patrick last year in October. And I must say, the first time I saw Patrick, I thought, wow, this man, I want to know about this man because he has this, he was standing in front of his painting. He was sitting in front of that painting. And I was wondering, why is that deep painting? But it encompassed him. He looked like an angel for me. And again, when you sent through that 2 minutes video, Patrick, it's the same. That it's just around you so beautiful with this beautiful painting. So I was so thrilled when you said I had a cancellation and I only phoned Patrick on Thursday to ask, Patrick, is it possible that you can come and inspire the ladies? And he said yes. So Patrick, I am so thrilled for you to be here. And this is Self-Compassion Week. And I know everything happens for a reason. It was so wonderful to connect to you with you again. So I'm going to give it all over to you to inspire us. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Thank you. That's a beautiful introduction. I'm not sitting in front of my painting, my lovely painting that if you saw the little promo film I did, because I'm not at home. I'm actually staying in an Airbnb in a town called Peterborough in England because I'm doing a course, lifelong learning. There's always new stuff to learn. So I'm actually doing a course in, I guess you call it public speaking. So anyway, so that's why I'm basically not in front of my painting. So a couple of questions I'd love to ask. There won't be a lot of audience participation because I haven't had long enough to prepare and send any more stuff. How many of you have felt really creative at any point in your life? Any point, when you were young, when you were older, a point when you thought, yes, I'm yeah. How many of you would really like to be even more creative in your life? You may already be a very creative person. Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you. Thank you for your participation. I think that's true for all of us. I'm going to, when Sanette asked me to give a talk, I thought, okay, well, I don't have one prepared. What am I passionate about right now? And I decided I'd give a talk about creativity and the creativity inside of us and why I think creativity matters more than ever. And so I really want to thank Sanette, first of all, for giving me this opportunity. I think it's beautiful to be out of the blue. Sometimes opportunities come to you that you don't expect, and they're often the biggest gifts of all. And I genuinely want to thank all of you as well for turning up and taking a chance on this old bearded guy from England. I mean, what does he know about anything? So just so that you know a little bit about me, I've been, for most of my life, I've been somebody who's worked in the theatre, and I might tell a little bit about how I ended up in the theatre. And so I've been an actor, and I still am an actor. I've been a theatre director. I've been an occasional writer. I've been a producer of theatre, and I currently run my own theatre company, and you can check it out on Facebook if you'd like to like us and follow us. We're called Theatre Nation. It's quite easy to remember, www, I can't even say it. I should have done some voice practicing exercises before I started this. www.theatrenation.org is our website, and then you can follow us on Facebook as well, and I think we're on Twitter as well, and Instagram. So we're about to do a big project which is, if anybody, I don't know if anybody follows theatre or knows anything about theatre, but there's a very famous writer called Samuel Beckett, who's an Irish writer. And he wrote a very famous play called Waiting for Godot, which is basically a play about two old tramps waiting for a character who called Godot, who never turns up. So it's a very modern play. It's a very kind of, you could say it's a very philosophical play. It's also very funny. So one of the things that I'm interested in talking to you about is the creative life. What is a creative life? And I started thinking about this question. I've only got a few days to do this. And I started thinking, well, what is a creative life? I mean, and then I thought, well, actually, the creative life is all of us, all of the time. I know that sounds a bit pretentious, but we're all creating all the time. We actually create our reality. It's quantum physics. It's absolutely fundamentally known by scientists and physicists. We are literally generating and regenerating ourselves millions of times over, literally day by day, week by week, month by month. That, most of you probably know that, over 7 years, we've completely regenerated our entire cellular structure. And think about that, from how miraculous is that? You are literally physically not the same essence that you were. Spiritually, you are. If you have a spiritual belief system, you understand that, we're part of a spiritual cosmic order. Whatever faith system or belief that you have, there is an essence to us. I think most faith systems, in one way or another would describe that. So I'm not going to go into religion or politics for that matter. But what I wanted to talk about really was when you were 5 years old, I think there's a very good chance that you were a creative genius. If I asked you to draw a picture, if I asked you to sing a song, or do what Sanette just beautifully asked us to do, dance, I noticed instantly what came up was my going, well, oh, that wasn't part of the agreement. That's the adult self speaking. That's the adult self going, not the child going, wow, an opportunity to play, yay. No, the adult self goes, well, excuse me, I don't think that was part of our contract. It's very interesting to look at that contrast between how our adult self and our child self responds to play. So I'm interested in us reconnecting with our, you want to call it that, the inner child, I call it the child genius in all of us, because I swear most of us, at least at 5 years old, still had at least vestiges. Probably by 2, 3, or 4, we probably certainly did. By the age of 5, we might have started to lose a little bit of it and started to become maybe a little bit self-conscious, possibly, depending on our background and the messages we were getting from, the adults around us. Oh, don't make that racket, or no, why are you daydreaming? Or we're given a lot of negative messages, I think, when we're young. And because we're young and malleable and vulnerable, we start to take on those messages. No, don't play, don't run around the supermarket, or don't do this or that, you'll hurt yourself. Don't climb that tree, don't do this, don't do that. So our natural ebullience and curiosity and playfulness and joy, I think, often gets lost. And somewhere between about the ages of 5 and I would say adolescence, we go from that joyful, playful child, most of us still are in touch with, to a slightly sarky, suspicious adolescent, which most of us tend to go through that phase. Maybe not all of you, maybe some of you went through a blithe and blissful adolescence, in which case, bless you and lucky you. But a lot of us end up becoming gawky and awkward and self-conscious, and of course there's hormones and all that other stuff going on. So that inner child genius, we think that's, when we get adult, we think that's special. We think only special people have that inner child genius. You have to be a Leonardo da Vinci, or Leonardo DiCaprio for that matter, or a Meryl Streep, or whoever your favorite creative person might be. And we put them on a pedestal, and we give them Oscars, and we put them in galleries, and we treat them as special. And then, because we're not Leonardo DiCaprio or Leonardo da Vinci or Meryl Streep or whoever, we think, well, they're there because they've got that special creative genius, you know, the Mozart effect. So I couldn't possibly be creative because I can't possibly be Mozart or Picasso or whoever it is. And the truth is, what is often crushing, I think, our creativity is comparison. We're so busy doing that adult thing of looking over our shoulder going, oh, I'm not that good, or I'm not that great, or well, I better not do anything because, you know, I can't ever be that thing. And I think partly our educational system encourages us to feel competitive. And if we don't feel we can compete, we give up. I don't know if that's true for you. Does that feel true to anybody? Is that something? You don't have to agree with me. It's just an opinion. I'm a very opinionated person. But this is my own experience, I think I'm sharing. So I came from a very poor Irish Catholic background. I was an adopted child, and there was very little encouragement for art in my family. So I can still to this day see the look on my mother's face when I said, oh, you said, so what are you doing? I said, well, I think I'm going to become an actor. This is after I'd already broken all the rules by saying, oh, by the way, I think I'm going to go to university. None of this was considered, you know, feasible in the background that I grew up in. I blessed my mother and father. They put a roof over my head. They clothed me. They fed me. They took care of all my physical needs. And I still bless them to this day. But it was a difficult childhood in some respects, and it was certainly not a wealthy childhood on any level. And at one point, I was living in an inner city tenement in the centre of Glasgow for several years of my life. But it taught me a lot about life, and it taught me to make up my own playfulness, my own creativity, to trust my own creativity. So I was quite a solitary child in some respects. I was gregarious. I loved playing, but also I was quite solitary. And that enabled me to develop an imagination. At the time, I might have thought I was having a very lonely childhood. Well, actually, what I was also doing was developing imaginative powers. And I was very lucky. I was incredibly lucky. I have enormous gratitude for the life that I was given in the end, because actually when I was very young, I was taken to the theatre, not by my parents, but my school. And it was a time when schools still, you know, had the money and the willingness to introduce children, particularly working class children who didn't have those kind of opportunities, to the arts. A lot of working class people feel nervous about the theatre. They think it's sort of something a bit fancy and scary. You know, a lot of us, even to this day, feel that way about opera. You know, you have to dress in top hat and tails and look like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers or something, you know, that you don't feel comfortable in those environments. So I was very lucky to be taken to theatre, and I saw a play, a Christmas play called Christmas Carol. If anybody knows the story of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, you know, the one with the ghosts, Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future. It's quite a dark story to be taken to at the age of 6. But I sat there. I'm going to try and demonstrate my 6-year-old self. I sat there. That. I don't know what that world is, but I want to be there. And once that seed was sown, I never completely lost my creative self. I don't. Does anybody have any kind of similar experience where something, either a mentor or a teacher or somebody introduced them to a form of creativity that opened their imagination that they've never completely lost? You must bless that person. They were your angel. So if you don't have that person, I'm here now to be your modern day angel. I'm here to tell you, you are a creative genius. And I mean that. I'm not saying that as some sort of, oh, let's just do one of those kind of internet sort of, I know you're a creative genius. May I give you another story which affected me so deeply?
Yes.
Are you with me so far? Does any of this
Yes.
make any sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So I have a wonderful friend who's a filmmaker and an editor that I work with quite a lot, called Sam. He has a beautiful daughter called Anna, who's now, I think, 5 years old. And he's a wonderful father. He's a very hands-on dad. They're very lucky. He has a son as well, William, and they're very lucky children because they have a hands-on dad. Because he's a freelance creative person, he gets to spend a lot of time at home, which I think is a blessing for a child, to have both the presence of the mother and the father. Um, I won't go into that now, but I think it's an incredible gift for a child. So he loves his children. He has a lot of quality time with them. And Anna came home from school one day. This was maybe a year or two ago. And he said, "How are you getting on with art?" Because he knew that Anna loved drawing and painting and making a big mess on the page and using color and just expressing her feelings. Can you see how the way I'm being very expressive as I'm describing this story? But that's how Anna, she was probably about 4 at the time, or 4.5. And they'd been asked to draw, I think, a tree, like a tree that they'd imagined. And so Anna just drew this multicolored, and it was like purple and pink and orange, which are all the colors of the rainbow. And her teacher came around and looked at her painting, which is this wonderful riot of color, and scowled and went, no, that's not right. That's not how you paint a tree. The sky can't be that color. The grass is green, and your tree must be brown. In other words, there was the right way to do it. Whereas Anna was being Picasso, and somebody was coming to Picasso and saying, well, no, a horse doesn't look like that. Or, or a man or a woman doesn't look like that. I'm talking about his later abstract phase. Can you imagine somebody going up to Picasso and saying, well, I'm sorry, but that's not real. So I was horrified by that story, by the way. I don't know about you if you're horrified, but it seemed to encapsulate for me what happens to our inner child genius. There we are, being an inner child genius, expressing our feelings and our passion and our aliveness and our curiosity. And what we're saying to the world is, this is how I feel about the world. And then can you imagine some adult comes along and goes, no, that's wrong. Imagine what that does to our creativity. Now, if Anna didn't have her father, Sam, as her father, and her mother, Sal, and a beautiful couple, she might then, I think we often, all of us, maybe, does anybody else have a moment like that in their life where somebody said, oh no, you obviously can't sing, or no, you don't really move, you don't know how to move, or they gave you some critique. All you were doing was being a child, expressing yourself and playing and full of joy, and somebody was coming along and saying, well, you don't do that very well. What's one's reaction in life when that happens? It's kind of like,
yes, yeah,
that joy, it's like snuffing out a candle. It's just like going, no, don't want that light. Not a big enough light. It's not a chandelier. It's not the sun. You're just a little candle. You can tell I'm an actor, can't you? I have to kind of act things out. So what I learned from a lot of my life was that everything is a creative act. Every moment in life is an opportunity to be creative. I know that if I spent time with all of you, I would see how creative you are. And the things that you are creating in your life, you probably don't even know how creative you are. How many of you have children? Some of you have a family. How many of you have a pet? Some of you have a pet. I bet there are times when you are incredibly playful and creative with your pet or with your children. You're acting with them, or you're just playing a game with them. And we don't call that creative. We don't honor it enough. We don't honor our playfulness and creativity. We think that, again, it's somewhere over there that other people are doing. And actually, when we start to embrace, yes, I've seen Yvonne, for example, with her cat. I've seen Laurie with her cats. Cats are the most playful creatures in the world. I mean, there are many other things as well about cats, but they are immensely playful. They are dancers. They move exquisitely. They're captivating. They're great actors. No, I didn't steal that. No, wasn't me. they're poker players, they're many, many things. So, and often if we have a dog or a cat, we can study them and they remind us that if you have a dog, they will absolutely day in, day out teach you about joy and being in the moment. We could feed them the same food day after day forever. And every time you fed them the same bowl of the same, they would go, oh, great, dinner. Yes, yum. So it's that wonderful sense that, there are lessons all around us in playfulness, creativity, abundance, joy. And so I just want to keep it to, I want, if you take nothing from this little talk, which I haven't really had time to prepare a lot of, that's not an excuse. It's just I'm now doing what actors often do, which I'm improvising, I'm creating in the moment. I'm trying to read this room, looking at you, trying to understand, where are you coming from? What's interesting you? Where are the moments when you're bored and going, oh, just get on with it, please? So that's what actors do. We try to read an audience. So I would love you to take away one thing. Would you be willing to do that? You don't have to do it, just be willing. Okay, I want you to take away one mantra from my speech. So you'll hear Patrick's English voice saying this in your ear. And if you like, you could even write it somewhere on a post-it note, or you could do what Marisa Peet, the coach, does. Say, write it on your bathroom mirror if it's something you'd really love to embrace in your life. Write somewhere that you can see it every day. I am a creative genius. Is that okay? Is that too okay? Would you like to say it once? We're on Zoom. We're all friends together. If you don't want to say it, it's absolutely fine. Okay. But let's just. Sanette got me to dance to Bonnie Tyler. Sanette can get me to dance to Bonnie Tyler. I can at least ask you guys to. Sorry, not guys, ladies. Beautiful.
Guys and girls and girls and
guys. I read recently,
Right.
just to go off piste, which is what I do a lot, being Irish. I'll tell you another story in a moment. But on Broadway, apparently recently there was the cast meeting, and they were instructed by the management that it was now abusive to call the company guys if there were women present.
Oh, wow.
So this is how politically correct we're now becoming. So you have to this idea of policing everything, that you can't say something just with affection. It'll be read as, oh, that's abuse because that's patriarchal, and you're claiming women are whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry. I promise not to talk about religion and politics. I've now talked about both. So basically, say after me. Will you give it a go?
Yes.
And you don't want to, you can sit as well, it's all fine. So after 3, 1, 2, 3. I
am a creative genius.
Yes.
On Zoom, of course, it sounds terrible because we all have different internet speeds, and it sounds hilarious when people try to sing together on Zoom. I love it. It sounds like sort of a modern opera. But that idea that you do have an inner child genius, that inner child genius inside of you wants to play every day of your life. That inner child genius wants to draw or sing or do what Sanette beautifully asked us to do at the beginning of the session, dance, or just even go out in nature and breathe in the wonder of nature and play with nature. Stand in front of a tree and have a connection with the tree. That's a creative act. Everything is a creative act. It's, in autumn, play with the leaves and just, I know you now all think I am completely insane. I'm well aware of that. Insanity, creative insanity is health. That's another, I'm going to offer you that as another commandment, not a commandment, but as a little bit of creative insanity is true health. The thing that society tells you is stupid or ridiculous or idiotic, the adult voice, the parent, the teacher, the person who told you you're not creative, it's the exact opposite is true. Reality is the exact opposite of what we're telling ourselves a lot in we call it the real world. I mean, how crazy is that? the real world, this shut down, closed off, suppressed, unplayful existence that, we're being asked to live. How insane is that? You do not have to be, you have lived the life I live. You do not have to be a professional actor to be a creative genius. You could be a creative genius preparing your dinner for yourself or your loved one in just the way you arrange the color on the plate. I'm not saying you have to do that for every meal. It's not a kind of rule. It's not like, oh no, Patrick, now every time I cook and I'm exhausted at the end, now I have to rearrange the broccoli so it looks lovely. But do you know what I'm saying?
No,
There are many ways in which just, if you add a little flour on a plate, I've seen people present the most simple meal and it's beautiful because they've added a little chrysanthemum or they've added a little touch or they've just arranged a little bit of herb on the side of the plate. And I always honor that creative impulse in us. Or, I go out sometimes, pick up a stone on the beach, just a little pebble, and put it on the windowsill and watch the way the light touches it. iPhones, I never took photos in my life. I was a snob. I'm a terrible snob. I went, no, I'm a writer. If I travel, I shall keep a travel journal. An important travel writer. And then I got an iPhone and the dam burst open. I went, wow. Oh, I don't have to buy a Nikon camera or a Lumix or some posh camera. I can now just point this thing at things and I'll get these images that look actually quite professional. So I now take those thousands of photos. They're not really to share in the world. I know that they're not professional photos. I've actually interviewed professional photographers. I know the difference, but the joy that gives me, the joy of capturing a moment and sharing with my friends, a beautiful sunset. I live in a beautiful place. So there are many, many ways in which, even as I get older, I keep expanding my capacity of creativity. And I want to say that lifelong creativity is possible. And it's the source, I think, of joy and good health. Whatever else is going on in life, you have always that opportunity. If you can't be with people, you can draw. If you can't be with people, write a poem. It doesn't have to be, T.S. Eliot or Shakespeare. Write your feelings. Draw your feelings. It's healing. It's therapeutic. And sometimes you'll write something. I just wrote a poem for a friend of mine who was going through a quite a serious illness. And I thought I could send her a card. Actually, what I could do is write her something that's uniquely from my heart to hers. If you write from your heart or draw from your heart, it's already art. It's art anyway, but it's art if it's from your heart. Art from the heart.
Patrick, you are so good. You are so right.
Anyway, I don't know. Is that enough to be going on with?
No, you have done us so proud, and you have filled us with so much wisdom and so much joy. Thank you so much, Patrick. So what I wanted to say, one of the things that I try every day is to do something that I didn't do yesterday. So I don't know, and that makes me happy. And I don't know if you are all up for this. I also wrote a beautiful poem. It says moment by moment, but I will send it to the ladies on the group, because I would love to give Cindy her opportunity to spend some time with us as well. Just a few minutes. Are you ladies ready and Patrick ready to do something playful with me? Yes, Patrick?
I have a Zoom call with my theatre company very soon, so I may not stay for the entire. So I'm really, really sorry. It's just a terrible clash this evening.
No, that's perfect, Patrick.
Pleasure.
Is there any questions that you have for Patrick, ladies?
Yes. If you have any questions for me, that's fine. You can ask me anything, really, honestly.
Yvonne?
Patrick, thank you very much for your inspiration. My artwork was torn up in front of me when I was a child, and so my creative genius went completely inside and it didn't come out. So I must start from the beginning, and you, as you say, you're an angel, and thanks for coming to me as an angel to open my genius again. I don't know where to start, but I'll try my best.
May I say something?
Yes,
Bless
you're
you.
welcome. It's
Bless
so
you.
beautiful. Wow.
I'm going to do my heart. I've been practicing my heart. They're getting a little bit better. They're getting a bit more heart-like, I think. When I first did them, they were terrible, but they, practice. Do you know where all art starts, Yvonne? It starts with the blank page, the empty space, the empty canvas.
Yes.
Anything that you then make a mark is art. Anything. People have been paid millions of dollars for a painting, which is a big white canvas with just one white dot on a white canvas. Anything is art if it's coming from your heart, if it's expressing something that you want to express. I would say what you need to give yourself is bandwidth, and let go of the that's not art, that's just a scrawl on a page, or that's not art, that's just a daub.
Okay.
And when you start to connect with the feeling of pleasure it gives you, that will open, I think, the sluice gate, and you'll suddenly go, I don't have to care about other people's opinions. This is my art from me, from my heart, that I love. And then at the end of that, there'll be a little 5-year-old genius inside you going, I made that.
Thank you. I want to start writing also.
Same thing.
Thank
You
you.
know how you write a poem? One word in front of another.
Yes.
That's all a poem is one word in front of another. Just like a journey is one step in front of another. You know the old Chinese proverb, journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So you want to write a poem? Write one word in front of another. You know how you become a novelist? I got this from my writer mentor friend. I'm sorry, Sinead, I'm taking up too much time. I'm Irish. I just talked for the Olympics. One word in front of another. Write a novel, 100 words a day.
I will start with that.
Yeah, by the end of the year, you would have half a novel.
Oh, thank you so much, Patrick. And Yvonne, thank you so much for sharing. It is beautiful. One of the things I have learned the last 3 years of my new lifestyle, to do what makes me happy. Because if it makes me happy and I'm alive, then I can make other people happy. So yes, do whatever makes you happy. So I'm quickly, Patrick, you're welcome to go. I just want to say thank you so much for coming to us. Thank you for speaking and inspire us. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Can I ask one favor, one request before I leave? I have a social media manager who's insisted that I collect emails for our friends of our company. So if anybody, likes what I've said or the ideas that I've shared, please join our email list. You could do that with Sinead if you are happy to send you. And you'll just find out about our company, basically. And you can go online, I say www.theatrenation.org. And if you go onto Facebook, Theatre Nation, please like us, love us, etc.
Okay, I will definitely put it on the Diamond Beauties as well, because there's quite a lot of ladies that would have liked to join us today, but they will look at the replay, and I will send that information.
Invite anybody to become friends of our company. We would love to have friends all around the
What's
world.
the name of it?
It's called
Patrick,
Theatre Nation. Just 2 words. Theatre Nation. www.theatrenation, it's all one word, .org. And if you go to Theatre Nation on Facebook, you should find us. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, allowing me to share the Zoom room with you.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful evening and enjoy your course.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Patrick.
Lots
So,
of love.
ladies, are you ready? Just a minute, just a minute. Oh, now it's my phone there. Just a minute. I just wanted to play that quickly. Let me just put this off in case this thing is not picking up nicely. We'll also know. So Cindy, I know your session is 20 minutes, and I'm sorry that we're gonna go a little bit over. But ladies, will it be okay for you for Cindy to complete her speech and then her song, It's the Greatest Showman? And Cindy, tell us why this song is your forever song, your beautiful forever song.
You know, this song represents that we all come from different walks of life. And as Patrick mentioned earlier, sometimes our inner child beauty genius gets squashed through life because somebody may not appreciate us or love us, allow us to be who we are. And this song actually resonates of who we truly are. And we're just going to be strong and live with.
Oh, wow.
It's being you, it's being me, it's accepting who we are. And that's what's important. And that's why I love this song.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Cindy. So, Cindy, you please inspire us with your self-talk. You know, that is one of the things that I see so many women say to themselves, oh, you're stupid, or why don't you think about it? Self-talk is such a big thing with a lot of women. So I'm looking so much forward to your speech. So thank you so much. You can go.
Thank you, ladies. It's a pleasure to be here. And one of the things we're going to do is, because we probably haven't been taught this, and we probably don't do enough of it, is we are going to be champions of celebration. You know, that little inner child that got squashed so many years ago? I'm just going to tag on with what Patrick was saying. So I'm going to show you a little trick on how you can celebrate your small or big wins, because this is something you want to practice each and every day. So I want you all to raise your arms up above your head. Turn your hand backwards. Turn your hand back towards the wall. Bend your elbow. And now pat yourself on the back. That is what I'm saying. You see, there's a smile. There's a smile. If I can say there is a smile in the room, there is. Now, do you see how quickly your energy shifted by doing something so simple, yet so powerful? We do not celebrate ourselves enough. And sometimes we look outside of ourselves to be acknowledged or celebrated. Self-compassion starts with celebrating who you are, what you've accomplished, and every success. If it's a success that you woke up in the morning and got out of bed, yes, celebrate it. Because you could tell how quickly your energy shifted by doing that little practice of self-praise. So be the champion of your celebration. If anything you take away from this, be the champion of your celebration. What also happens through life is we adopt words to describe ourselves. We also adopt phrases to describe ourselves. But we're also inundated with social media. We can do 100 or 1,000 things well. And what happens? We'll look at that one negative. We will look at that one negative and allow it to change the course of our life. When we should be champions of our celebration and celebrating all the thousands and hundreds of things that we've accomplished. So what are we focusing on? And why do we focus on that? And where did this inner dialogue come from? The inner dialogue in our head to tell us we're going to beat ourselves up for not doing something well. We're going to do something great and only look at the bad aspect of it. We learned this through life. We learned it through our peers. We learned it through social media. We learned it on the playground. And what happens is now we have all of these negative thoughts. And I'm here to tell you, you can control those. You do not have to be your automatic negative thoughts. And what I like to call the automatic negative thoughts are ants. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a moment and share my screen here. Can everyone see my screen? Maybe not yet.
Not
Let's
yet.
try it again.
Not yet. Not yet. We can't see your screen. We can only see you so far.
Okay,
Are you sharing it? Did you?
There you
here we
are.
Okay,
go.
now it's coming. Yay, there we go.
All right. And let's just make it look pretty because we are beautiful, aren't we? Now there's a beautiful view for you. Self-compassion, everyone, starts with accurate self-talk. It is the celebration of who we are, not the things that we haven't accomplished. And usually what I tell myself at the end of the day, what went really well today and what will I do better tomorrow? It's not what I didn't accomplish. And now, drum roll, please, because you're probably wondering, in my video, it said that there's 7 different ways that we can talk negatively about ourselves. And these are the 7 highly regarded ants in the ant world. It's the automatic negative thoughts. And drum roll, here is the list. Here is the list of the negative thoughts. The all or nothing ant, the guilt beating ant, fortune teller, just the bad ant, labeling, mind reading, and blaming. Now, what does each one of these ants' characteristics? Well, for the all or nothing ant, the all or nothing ant uses words such as always, never, every time. You group things together so we can I always make wrong decisions. Is that true? When we are using these type of words, we are not doing a accurate self-talk with ourselves. So if you find yourself using these words, catch yourself and say, nope, I'm not going to use those words. I'm going to question it. How about number 2? Number 2 is just the bad ant. Well, this little pesky sucker, you know what he likes to do? You've done something amazing. Maybe it's you got 76 likes on Facebook or social media, but that little ant in your head says, I wanted 100. We take something that's successful and we turn it around and make it negative. This little guy you want to squash by questioning it and definitely celebrating your wins. Remember, self-compassion with accurate self-talk, and you're going to be addressing these automatic negative thoughts in your head. Now the guilt beating ant. Well, this little guy is like the shoulda, coulda, woulda ant. That's what I like to call him. It's the shoulda, coulda, woulda. I should have done this, should have done that, could have done that. You want to change those words into I must, I will, I want. Can you see the difference by saying should to I must? The should is just kind of like, maybe I'll get to it, right? I must is definitely a directive that you can get control of. Once again, what we want to do is have the right narrative. We have programmed our brain, we've allowed these ants to run rampant, and we want to have the proper and accurate verbiage. Instead of saying, I shoulda, coulda, woulda with the guilt-beating ant, turn it around. If you see these words pop up, stop it and question it. The labeling ant. We are all famous. I would say I am definitely famous with this one. How about a little head nod? Anyone else label themselves, label the situation? Yes. Thank you for being honest and brave to raise your hand. Here's the thing that happens with our brain on how it's wired. When we say, I'm such a moron, it goes into a file space. It goes into a filing cabinet in our brain. And what happens is the brain doesn't know the difference between a good moron and a bad moron, if there are any. I'm not sure there are. However, in our filing cabinet, the more we say it, the bigger the file gets. And then when we see somebody who's a moron or somebody who's not doing something correctly or someone, we're lumped into that group of people. We are lumping ourselves into that group of people, and then we're starting to identify with ourselves as that individual, which we are not. And sometimes we enjoy, hey, let's just joke around, oh, it's kind of fun to say, hey, he's a moron and be joking. No, you do not want to send these words out to anybody. You don't want to say it to yourself, because another way our body is wired is that when you speak, it speaks to your entire being. It speaks to every cell, every organ in your body. If you are using these words, stop and stomp them out. Because you are part of Diamond Beauties Forever, and that is what you want to resonate. That's who you are. That's what you want to be. You have somewhere down the road, we have been told that we've been stupid. We've been told that we're a failure. We believe that we are, and we are not. The accurate verbiage is to use accurate labels for yourself, for your kids, and for others in situations around you. And that's coming up with like the affirmation that Patrick gave us, right? It is saying that I am beautiful. I am worthy. You change these around to I am that resonate to who you are, and you will make a big change in your life. And as we move on to number 5, well, the fortune teller ant. This little guy is going to predict the future, but in a negative way. Now, that's not fair. We want to predict the future in a positive way. But for some reason, as a few of the examples I'm giving you, if I apply for the job, I'll only get rejected. How do you know that? And why would you put that energy out there if you really want that job? You tell yourself, I'm going to get it. You put that energy out. You show up as your beautiful self, knowing that you are worthy of that job. As the fortune teller ant, not only are we rejecting ourselves from probably a great job, what else are we rejecting ourselves from? What have we allowed this ant, this automatic negative thought, to talk ourselves out of doing something? How many times are you like, I'm going to go try that? And you never had, because of the negative thought telling you, nah, you'll just fail at it. Nah, you won't be good at it. No, somebody else is better at it. It happens. It happens all the time. And then one day you wake up and go, wow, I really haven't accomplished much. Why? Is it because the fortune teller ant took over and ran havoc in your life, holding you back and creating some beliefs, some behavior patterns that are just not resonating with you? So be careful with the fortune teller ant. Then we have the mind reader ant. This one, folks, I call it the superpower. Absolutely. We all have this amazing superpower to read somebody else's mind. For example, the boss calls you in the office. Obviously, he's going to fire you, right? Because you've got the superpower to be in his head, and he's telling you you're fired. But it never happened, did it? I actually lived that one with a couple bosses, and that's why I put it in there, because it is a reminder to myself that I thought my boss was going to fire me when I walked into the office, and he never did. How many times have you read somebody else's mind or read a situation that was negative that never happened? Exactly. Yvonne, Sinette, I only see a few of you on my screen. Thank you for being honest. But yes, somehow this automatic negative thought is giving you this superpower to read other people's minds when we should actually be talking to them. Or maybe just saying, I wonder why the boss is calling me in. Let's go find out. And have a different sense of energy and a way to present yourself. And now we're going to come to ant number 7. Oh, the blaming ant. And we all know when we point fingers, how many are pointing back at us, right? We are not taking accountability for our own actions. And a lot of the times this ant wants us to remain a victim. And that is certainly not a place where we want to live, and certainly not a place where we are able to thrive in our lives. Now, going through that little list, and let's have a little bit more honesty. Are you subject to one ant, or do you have a whole colony of ants going on in your head? Absolutely. And not only may you be subject to more than one ant, what may also be happening is what I like to call an ant rant. When you go on an ant rant, it is the R stands for random, and they just go from one thought to another thought to another thought. Next thing you know, you finished your cup of coffee, you finished your breakfast, you've had a whole conversation in your head, and they are all negative. Yes. Been there, done it. But you know what? You don't have to live in this world of an ant rant. You've got control of being able to rewire your brain and catch yourself. Here's the thing. When you are in the midst of having this conversation going on in your head, say, stop. What you're going to do is you're going to interrupt that conversation. You're going to take it from the subconscious level. You're going to bring it to the conscious level. And you're going to ask yourself, what is true about what I'm doing right now? What is true about these thoughts? Because these thoughts are not serving me well at all. They're only causing me havoc. So you want to have accurate self-talk. You also want to stomp out your ants. Be a champion of your celebration like we did earlier. This is where self-compassion starts, with the thoughts and the negative thoughts that you're having about yourself. And here's the thing, you have the ability to change your narrative. You could also speak kindly to yourself. A lot of times we're not speaking kindly to ourselves or about ourselves to others. It all starts with a thought. And as Gandhi's quote was, keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts create your words. Keep your words positive because your words create your behaviors. Keep your behaviors positive because your behaviors become your actions. Keep your actions positive because your actions become your destiny. It is important that we learn to self-evaluate our thoughts, but also be an investigator. Be Sherlock Holmes and bring out the eyeglass and say, I want to understand, where did this thought come from? Why do I have this thought? Who put this thought in my head in the first place? Be an investigator. Question. Because once you start doing that, those ants will not survive. The ants will not survive. And one of the things that I love to do, and this is my personal power mantra, is I'm happy, healthy, wealthy, kind. I love me, love my life. I am glorious. I am effing glorious. You may use my mantra if you would like. And Yvonne's going to do that because she just took a picture. Thank you. If you want to use mine, absolutely. You could take a picture of it, or you could also come up with your own. But when I wake up in the morning, sometimes our brain just wants to start taking off. But you get to control your brain. You get to control your day and control it before the day starts to control you. When I start to wake up and the fog starts to lift, this is the first thing that runs through my head over and over and over again. And if you want to be more animated about it, actually feel it. Put some action into it. It is important that you start your day with the right phrases of words, because now you're in control. And just briefly, because I know we're a little over time, but a personal story, how one decision can change the course of a lifetime. And my sister made this decision back in 1982, and it's 20 years later. I've only seen my sister 10 times in the last 20 years. She made a decision based off an experience that she wanted to distance herself from the family. I don't know what it's like to have a sister. I certainly want one. And it's taken me years to work through all those ants to finally come to a place realizing her decision changed the course of my life in the wonder of what it would be like to have a sister. It was years worth of torment, anger, grief, pain, wondering, did I do something wrong? I went through all those 7 ants, beating myself up, feeling guilty, trying to see the good in a bad situation. One decision made 20 years ago changed the course of my life. But it's something that I have come to an agreement with, but to realize that was her decision, not mine. I have done the forgiveness prayer. I have forgiven her, and I have forgiven myself, because there was a day that I may have not been too kind to her, only because I was filled with so much rage after 15 years of just wanting her love that I exploded. So I've forgiven myself and I've forgiven her, and I'm moving on. I bless her each and every day because she is a human being. She's a beautiful individual. But it's up to her to make the decision if she wants to be part of my life. Every year she gets a birthday card. She gets a Christmas card. Because for myself, I am going to make sure I show up as my true purpose is not to create harm to anyone. So sometimes we get into situations and we may blow off the handle, but if you can control your ants before they control you, you've got one decision, a split decision, a blink of an eye can change the course of a life. Now, maybe somebody's hurt you in the past. Maybe you can forgive them and move on. And maybe you're not ready to do that. But I would say, why carry the burden of that pain that somebody else did to you without realizing what they were going through. And so I realized my sister must be going through a great deal of pain not to want to be part of my life. That's her decision. I decide how I'm going to rise above it and be there for her no matter what when that time comes. And I do pray that that time will come. Be careful with your thoughts because they are extremely powerful and they speak to every cell and every ounce of your being. And definitely find a mantra to get your day started to show up as your beautiful self, because that's truly who you are, no matter what anybody else has done in the past. And then, of course, thank you. Be your glorious, beautiful being that you are.
Wow, wow. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Cindy. Any of you have a question for Cindy? Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome.
So we're gonna play out with Your Forever song. Let me just quickly put this on again. Where is this thing? And then I want to say thank you so much, Cindy. If you want to follow Cindy, she will be sending some of her things out on the Diamond Beauties. She sent out every day a quotation and a lot of things. And she's got a beautiful YouTube channel. I love your YouTube channel. You can also put the link on the Diamond Beauties. And then if you guys would like to do, you can follow. Yvonne, if you're not part of the Diamond Beauties, I'm sure you're not. You are so welcome to search for me on Facebook. I will then send you the link to join our group. Every day there is some beautiful quotations, and you can also participate and put your own quotations in. This week we have self-compassion is our theme. So you're all welcome to put quotes, poems, and everything on there. I will put my poem I've written for today. I will put it on there. I'm going to stop the recording so that we can have a dance.
Thank you.
Together.